Have you ever wondered if the nuts you're eating every day are actually helping or possibly harming your health? Hello there, I'm glad you've joined me today on Wise Elderly Tips. What if I told you that something as simple as your choice of nuts could be silently influencing your memory, your heart health, and even your lifespan? It's true. After 65, our bodies become more selective about what truly nourishes them and what secretly damages them. Let me ask you this, do you reach for mixed nuts thinking they're all equally healthy? Well, I have some surprising news for you today. Research is showing that for those of us over 65, certain nuts can dramatically support our health and longevity, while others might actually be accelerating aging and inflammation. I've spent months diving into the research about how different nuts affect the senior body specifically, and what I discovered was shocking. Some popular nuts that are marketed as superfoods may actually be working against your health goals if you're over 65. By the end of today's video, you'll know exactly which 4 nuts should become staples in your daily diet for better brain function, heart health, and reduced inflammation. And more importantly, you'll discover the 4 nuts you should approach with extreme caution or eliminate entirely, including one that nearly 99% of seniors consume regularly without realizing its potential harmful effects. This information could be game-changing for your health journey, and I promise it's based on solid scientific research specifically looking at how nuts affect the aging body, not just general nutrition advice. If you're serious about maintaining your independence and vitality as you age, type "healthy aging" in the comments below. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe to Wise Elderly Tips for more evidence-based advice specifically designed for those of us in our golden years. Now, let's dive into why nuts can be either powerful medicine or subtle toxins for the aging body. Let me tell you about Margaret, a 73-year-old viewer who reached out to me last year. Margaret was experiencing declining energy, troubling memory lapses, and concerning cholesterol levels despite taking her medications faithfully. Her doctor suggested something surprisingly simple, replacing her daily mixed nuts with specific varieties we'll discuss today. Within just 3 months of making this one dietary change, Margaret's blood work showed remarkable improvements. Her good cholesterol was up, inflammation markers were down, and she reported feeling noticeably more energetic and mentally sharp. Her family even commented on how much more engaged and present she seemed during conversations. What happened here? Was it just coincidence? Absolutely not. The science behind nuts and aging is fascinating and often overlooked in general nutrition advice. Numerous long-term studies, including the renowned Harvard Nurses' Health Study that followed participants for over 30 years, have consistently shown that seniors who regularly consume certain nuts tend to live longer and have significantly lower rates of heart disease, cognitive decline, diabetes, and even certain types of cancer. But here's where things get interesting, and this is what most health websites won't tell you. Not all nuts provide these benefits for seniors specifically. In fact, some may actually work against your health goals as you age due to changes in digestion, kidney function, and how our bodies process certain compounds after 65. The biggest misconception I hear all the time is that all nuts are equally healthy because they're natural. This simply isn't true. Our bodies undergo significant changes with age, including alterations in how we process fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. These changes mean that some foods that were perfectly fine in our younger years may become problematic as we age. The key to using nuts as medicine rather than inadvertently causing harm is being selective about which ones you consume regularly. It's not about eliminating nuts altogether, quite the opposite. It's about choosing the right ones and avoiding those that don't serve your aging body well. And that's exactly what we'll cover today. I'll share which nuts deserve a prominent place in your pantry and which ones should be approached with caution or eliminated entirely from your regular diet. Let's start with the good news, the 4 nuts that every person over 65 should consider adding to their diet for maximum health benefits. Nut number 1, walnuts, brain and heart protectors. First on our list of beneficial nuts is one that actually resembles the organ it benefits most, the brain. I'm talking about walnuts, which I consider the gold standard for senior nutrition. Let me share Richard's story with you. Richard, a 78-year-old retired engineer who follows this channel, had been noticing increasingly frequent memory lapses that were beginning to concern both him and his family. Simple things like remembering where he put his glasses or recalling the names of longtime acquaintances were becoming challenging. After learning about the research on walnuts and brain health, Richard decided to add a small handful of walnuts to his daily breakfast. Nothing else in his routine changed, no new medications, no other dietary modifications. After 6 months of this simple addition, both Richard and his family noticed significant improvements in his recall abilities and mental clarity. His daughter told me that conversations became noticeably more fluid, with fewer pauses to search for words. So what makes walnuts so special for the aging brain? It's not just one compound, it's an impressive nutritional profile perfectly matched to what our brains need as we age. Walnuts contain the highest amount of alpha-linolenic acid, or ALA, of any nut, about 2.5 grams in a 1-ounce serving. This plant-based omega-3 fatty acid is absolutely essential for the human body, especially our brains. And here's the remarkable thing, walnuts are the only nut to contain significant amounts of this essential compound that our bodies can't produce on their own. As we age, our brains become more vulnerable to oxidative stress and inflammation, which can damage neural connections. The omega-3s in walnuts help form protective sheaths around our nerve cells, literally providing armor for our brain cells against this damage. A groundbreaking study published in the Journal of Nutrition found that consuming just a quarter cup of walnuts weekly may help reduce the risk of developing physical function impairments as we age. Imagine that, something as simple as eating a few walnuts several times a week could help you maintain your independence and mobility. Now, I often hear from viewers who avoid walnuts because they look fatty or seem hard to digest. This is a significant misconception. Yes, walnuts do contain fat, but it's precisely the healthy fat your aging brain and heart desperately need. And while they may seem dense, proper chewing or chopping can make them much easier to digest and absorb. Here's my practical advice. Try adding 5 to 7 chopped walnuts to your morning oatmeal or yogurt. The omega-3 fatty acids work to increase your good cholesterol, HDL, and reduce the bad cholesterol, LDL, in your body, while simultaneously providing powerful antioxidants that benefit your immune system and fight off the cellular damage that accumulates with age. And don't worry about the calories. Research shows that the health benefits of walnuts far outweigh any concerns about their caloric content, especially when consumed in reasonable portions. Now, while walnuts are working wonders for your brain health, our next essential nut is a champion for your heart. Nut number 2, almonds, heart health champions. Let's talk about almonds, perhaps the most versatile nut for seniors, and a true heart health champion. Helen's story illustrates the power of almonds perfectly. Helen had struggled with high cholesterol for years despite being on medication. Her doctor was considering increasing her dosage when Helen learned about the specific benefits of almonds for cholesterol management. She decided to make one simple change, replacing her afternoon crackers with a small handful of almonds, about 15 to 20 per day. When she returned for her checkup 3 months later, her lipid profile had improved so dramatically that her doctor was able to reduce her medication dosage instead of increasing it. The only change? Those daily almonds. What makes almonds so beneficial for heart health? It's a combination of their unique nutritional composition. 1 ounce of raw almonds, that's about 23 nuts, contains approximately 14 grams of fat. But here's the important part, 7 grams of that fat is unsaturated, the same healthy type found in olive oil and avocados. These unsaturated fats have been shown in multiple studies to positively affect heart health by lowering your risk of heart disease and reducing cholesterol levels. In fact, research published in the Journal of the American Heart Association found that replacing foods high in saturated fats with foods high in unsaturated fats, like almonds, could reduce heart disease risk by up to 30%. Almonds also contain an impressive array of antioxidants, particularly vitamin E, which becomes increasingly important as we age. This nutrient helps protect our cells from oxidative damage, which tends to accelerate after 65. 1 ounce of almonds provides nearly 40% of your daily vitamin E requirements, impressive for such a small food. A common misconception I hear from my viewers over 65 is that almonds are too hard on their teeth or digestive system. This is a valid concern, but there are simple solutions. Sliced or slivered almonds provide all the same nutritional benefits while being much easier to chew. And contrary to digestive concerns, the fiber in almonds, about 3.5 grams per ounce, actually supports digestive health and regularity, something many seniors struggle with. How can you incorporate almonds into your daily routine? I recommend starting your day with a tablespoon of almond butter on whole grain toast, or sprinkling sliced almonds on your salads for a heart-healthy crunch. The healthy fats will help you feel satisfied longer, which can help with weight management, another important factor for heart health. Another tip: if you find raw almonds a bit bland, try lightly toasting them at home. A few minutes in a dry pan or in the oven brings out their natural flavor without adding any unhealthy oils or salt. Just be careful not to burn them, as this can create compounds that aren't beneficial. While almonds are working hard for your heart, our next beneficial nut offers surprising benefits for something many seniors are concerned about: their vision. Nut number 3, pistachios, vision and blood sugar stabilizers. Next on our list of beneficial nuts are pistachios, those distinctive green nuts that offer unique benefits for seniors, particularly for vision health and blood sugar management. David's experience with pistachios demonstrates their potential impact. At 69, David was pre-diabetic and had been noticing his vision gradually deteriorating, particularly his night vision and ability to adapt to changing light conditions. After learning about pistachios' benefits, he started incorporating a small handful as his daily snack. Within several months, not only had his blood sugar reading stabilized, but his optometrist noted unexpected improvements during his annual eye exam. What makes pistachios special for seniors? These nuts offer a wide variety of health benefits thanks to their impressive array of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. They're particularly high in lutein and zeaxanthin, two antioxidants that are essential for eye health and have been shown to reduce the risk of age-related macular degeneration, one of the leading causes of vision loss in seniors. Pistachios are also unique in their carbohydrate profile. Despite containing some carbs, research shows they have a minimal impact on blood sugar levels. In fact, studies have found that consuming pistachios with carbohydrate-rich meals helps prevent blood sugar spikes that can be particularly problematic for seniors managing prediabetes or diabetes. They're also high in beneficial monounsaturated fats, magnesium, and potassium, nutrients that work together to support healthy blood pressure. Additionally, pistachios naturally contain plant sterols, compounds that can help lower LDL cholesterol levels. A common misconception about pistachios is that they're just party snacks or too expensive for daily consumption. However, when you consider their nutrient density, the amount of nutrition packed into each calorie, they're actually quite economical. And there's another benefit to pistachios that many seniors appreciate: buying them in shells helps naturally with portion control. My practical advice for incorporating pistachios into your routine is to keep a small container of them, in the shell, on your counter. The act of shelling them naturally slows down your consumption, helping with mindful eating and preventing overconsumption. Aim for about 30 to 40 pistachios in their shells, which works out to about an ounce of actual nut meat. And here's a tip many seniors find helpful: the routine of shelling pistachios can actually be beneficial for maintaining finger dexterity and fine motor skills, an unexpected bonus. While pistachios support your vision and blood sugar, our final recommended nut provides essential support for something many seniors struggle with: inflammation throughout the body. Nut number 4, pecans, anti-inflammatory powerhouses. Our fourth beneficial nut for seniors over 65 is the often overlooked pecan, a true anti-inflammatory powerhouse. Caroline's experience demonstrates just how impactful pecans can be. At 83, Caroline had been struggling with joint pain and chronic inflammation for decades, trying various approaches with limited success. After learning about the anti-inflammatory properties of pecans, she began incorporating a small handful into her daily diet, replacing the processed snacks she typically reached for in the afternoon. Within weeks, Caroline noticed decreased morning stiffness and was able to enjoy her beloved gardening hobby again with significantly less discomfort. Her inflammation markers also decreased at her next blood test, much to her doctor's surprise. What makes pecans so valuable for seniors? In their natural state, pecans are incredibly rich sources of antioxidants. In fact, they rank among the highest antioxidant content of all nuts. These antioxidants, including ellagic acid and flavonoids, help neutralize free radicals that cause cellular damage and contribute to inflammation throughout the body. Inflammation increases naturally with age and contributes to almost every age-related condition, from arthritis to heart disease to cognitive decline. By incorporating anti-inflammatory foods like pecans, seniors can help combat this age-related inflammation at its source. Pecans also contain an impressive array of minerals important for senior health, including manganese for enzyme function, copper for iron metabolism, and zinc for immune function, all of which tend to become more difficult to absorb as we age. A significant misconception about pecans is that many seniors only think of them in sugar-laden desserts like pecan pie or pralines. But raw or lightly toasted pecans without added sugar offer remarkable health benefits that those sugar-coated versions simply don't provide. To incorporate pecans into your daily routine, I recommend sprinkling chopped pecans on vegetable dishes or adding them to your morning cereal or yogurt. They add a pleasant buttery flavor and satisfying crunch without needing any additional sweeteners. About 15 to 20 pecan halves daily provide significant anti-inflammatory benefits without excess calories. Just be sure to avoid commercially prepared pecan treats like candied pecans or pecan pie nuts, which transform this healthy nut into a sugar bomb that can actually increase inflammation rather than reduce it. Now that we know which nuts can boost our health after 65, let's discuss the potentially dangerous ones you should approach with caution or avoid entirely. The 4 worst nuts for seniors. Nut number 1, macadamia nuts, the silent calorie bomb. First on this list are macadamia nuts, what I call the silent calorie bomb. James's experience highlights why macadamias can be problematic. At 70, James was struggling to maintain a healthy weight despite walking regularly and watching his main meals carefully. He couldn't understand why his weight was creeping up and his energy levels were declining. When his nutritionist had him keep a detailed food diary, the culprit became clear. His daily handful of macadamia nuts, which he considered a healthy snack, was adding nearly 400 extra calories to his daily intake without providing proportional nutritional benefits. By simply replacing macadamias with walnuts, James was able to reduce his caloric intake while actually increasing his nutritional benefits. What makes macadamia nuts so problematic for seniors specifically? First and foremost is their extreme caloric density. Macadamias contain about 200 calories in just a small handful, more than any other commonly consumed nut. For seniors with naturally decreasing caloric needs and slowing metabolism, this can lead to unintentional weight gain, which puts additional stress on joints and cardiovascular systems. While macadamias do contain beneficial nutrients like thiamine for nervous system health and manganese for bone health, their extraordinarily high fat content, over 75% of their calories come from fat, creates an imbalance that's difficult for aging bodies to process efficiently. The biggest misconception about macadamia nuts stems from their luxurious, buttery taste and premium marketing. Many assume these expensive, tropical nuts must be particularly healthy. The reality is that their extreme calorie density makes them problematic for seniors, whose metabolism has naturally slowed and whose bodies need more nutrient-dense foods that provide maximum nutrition for fewer calories. Now, I'm not saying you can never enjoy macadamia nuts again. Rather, I recommend treating them as an occasional indulgence rather than a daily health food. If you truly enjoy their flavor and texture, limit portions to 4 to 5 nuts rather than a handful, and pair them with a lower-calorie food like fresh fruit or vegetables to help fill you up with fewer calories. For daily snacking, the walnuts and almonds we discussed earlier provide far more balanced nutrition with fewer calories and more fiber to help you feel satisfied. The next nut on our approach with caution list hides a particular risk for aging kidneys, something most seniors aren't warned about. Nut number 2, cashews, the kidney stone risk. Next on our list of nuts that seniors should approach with caution are cashews. What many don't realize is that these popular nuts pose a particular risk for aging kidneys. Patricia's story illustrates this hidden risk perfectly. At 75, Patricia had enjoyed excellent health for decades with no significant medical issues. But seemingly out of nowhere, she experienced her first kidney stone, an excruciatingly painful event that landed her in the emergency room. When her urologist asked about her diet, her daily cashew habit immediately raised concerns. Tests confirmed she had oxalate stones, the most common type of kidney stone, and reducing her cashew consumption became part of her treatment plan. Since eliminating cashews and increasing her water intake, Patricia has remained kidney stone-free for over 2 years. Why are cashews particularly problematic for seniors? The biggest issue is their extremely high oxalate content. Oxalates are natural compounds found in many foods, but cashews contain particularly high concentrations. These oxalates can bind with calcium in the urinary tract to form kidney stones. This becomes especially relevant for seniors because kidney function naturally declines with age. Most people over 65 have lost about 30% of their kidney function compared to their younger years, even if they're otherwise healthy. This reduced function makes the kidneys less efficient at filtering out substances like oxalates, substantially increasing the risk of stone formation. Cashews also present another challenge for seniors. They're higher in carbohydrates than many other nuts, with about 8 grams of carbs per ounce compared to just 3 to 4 grams in walnuts or almonds. This higher carb content can potentially affect blood sugar stability, which becomes more important as we age. The biggest misconception about cashews is that they're often perceived as one of the healthier nuts due to their creamy texture and milder flavor. This has led many seniors to choose them regularly without understanding the potential risks to kidney health, especially as kidney function tends to decline with age. If you have any history of kidney issues or stones, I strongly recommend eliminating cashews entirely and speaking with your healthcare provider about other high oxalate foods to avoid. They simply aren't worth the risk given the excruciating pain kidney stones cause and the increased vulnerability of aging kidneys. For those without kidney issues, my advice is to limit cashew consumption to occasional small portions and ensure you drink plenty of water when you do enjoy them. This helps your kidneys flush out oxalates before they can form stones. And whenever possible, choose lower oxalate nuts like walnuts or pecans instead for your regular snacking. I've seen too many seniors suffer through kidney stones that could have been prevented with simple dietary adjustments like this. It's one of those small changes that can potentially spare you significant pain and medical interventions down the road. Our next problematic category might surprise you, as these items are often marketed specifically as health foods. Nut number 3, flavored and coated nuts, hidden sugar and sodium bombs. Our third category of nuts that seniors should avoid might surprise you. It's not a specific type of nut, but rather how they're processed and flavored. I'm talking about the wide variety of flavored, coated, and processed nuts that fill grocery store shelves. Michael's experience demonstrates why these processed nuts can be so problematic. At 68, Michael had previously well-controlled hypertension. But during a routine checkup, his doctor noted a concerning spike in his blood pressure readings. After careful questioning about any lifestyle changes, they identified the likely culprit: his new habit of snacking on lightly salted, mixed nuts that actually contained far more sodium than he realized. When Michael checked the nutrition label more carefully, he was shocked to discover that his small daily portion contained nearly 15% of his recommended daily sodium limit. After switching to unsalted nuts, his blood pressure readings returned to normal within weeks. Why are flavored and coated nuts especially problematic for seniors? First and foremost is the hidden sodium content. Many, lightly salted varieties actually contain significant amounts of sodium, which is particularly concerning for seniors managing hypertension, heart failure, or kidney disease, all conditions that become more common after 65. Even more concerning are the honey-roasted, maple-glazed, or candied varieties that contain surprising amounts of added sugars. A single serving of honey-roasted nuts can contain 2 to 3 teaspoons of added sugar, comparable to eating a cookie. For seniors managing diabetes or prediabetes, these hidden sugars can lead to dangerous blood sugar spikes. Many processed nuts also contain unhealthy oils, artificial flavorings, and preservatives that can increase inflammation in the body, the last thing seniors need as they're already dealing with age-related inflammatory processes. The biggest misconception is in the marketing. Terms like lightly salted, honey-roasted, or smokehouse flavor sound relatively harmless, even natural. But these processing methods transform what could be a healthy food into something closer to a highly processed food with minimal nutritional benefits. Even nuts that seem mildly sweet can contain as much sugar as candy. My practical advice is simple: always check labels carefully, or better yet, purchase raw nuts and lightly flavor them at home with ingredients you control. A sprinkle of cinnamon, a light toast with a touch of olive oil and rosemary, or a dusting of unsweetened cocoa powder can add wonderful flavor without the harmful additives. If you do purchase pre-packaged nuts, look specifically for labels that say unsalted and check the ingredient list. The shorter, the better. Ideally, the only ingredient should be the nut itself. Finally, let's address a controversial nut that many don't even recognize as potentially problematic. Nut number 4. Peanuts, inflammation and aflatoxin concerns. The final nut on our caution list might be the most controversial: peanuts. Despite their popularity, there are several reasons why seniors specifically might want to reconsider making peanuts a daily habit. Elizabeth's story illustrates why peanuts can be problematic for some seniors. At 79, Elizabeth had been experiencing puzzling inflammatory symptoms, joint pain, digestive discomfort, and skin issues that her doctor couldn't fully explain despite various tests. As an experiment, her nutritionist suggested eliminating peanuts from her diet for 30 days. To Elizabeth's surprise, many of her symptoms improved significantly within just a few weeks. When she tried reintroducing peanuts, the symptoms returned, confirming her sensitivity. Why might peanuts be problematic for seniors specifically? First, it's important to understand that peanuts aren't true nuts botanically, they're legumes that grow underground. This distinction matters because their growing environment makes them susceptible to contamination with aflatoxins, fungal toxins that may contribute to inflammation and have been linked to various health concerns. The aging immune system often becomes more sensitive, making older adults more reactive to compounds that didn't bother them in their younger years. This increased sensitivity makes the potential inflammatory effects of peanuts more relevant for seniors. Additionally, most commercially available peanuts and peanut butter contain added oils, salt, and sometimes sugar, all ingredients that can exacerbate inflammation and cardiovascular issues that become more common after 65. The biggest misconception about peanuts stems from their familiarity. Because peanuts and peanut butter have been childhood staples for many people, they're often considered harmless comfort foods. However, their potential to trigger inflammation makes them potentially problematic for many seniors already dealing with inflammatory conditions like arthritis, cardiovascular disease, or digestive issues. I'm not suggesting everyone needs to eliminate peanuts entirely, many people tolerate them well. However, if you're experiencing unexplained inflammatory symptoms, consider a 30-day trial without peanuts to see if you notice improvements. For those who do enjoy peanuts, my practical advice is to choose more nutritious alternatives for your regular snacking. Consider switching to almond butter instead of peanut butter, which provides more beneficial nutrients with lower inflammatory potential. And choose true tree nuts like walnuts, almonds, or pecans for your regular snacking. If you do consume peanuts, opt for freshly roasted varieties without added salt or sugar, and in moderation rather than as a daily staple. And always store them properly in cool, dry conditions to minimize aflatoxin growth. Now that we've covered the nuts to embrace and those to approach with caution, let's discuss how to implement these changes practically in your daily life. Practical implementation tips. I understand that making dietary changes can feel overwhelming, especially when you've developed certain habits over decades. George's approach demonstrates how manageable these changes can be. George, an 81-year-old viewer, initially felt overwhelmed by all the dietary advice he received after being diagnosed with prediabetes. Rather than trying to overhaul his entire diet at once, he focused on making just one change each week. He started by swapping his daily peanut butter for almond butter, then the following week began incorporating walnuts into his breakfast routine. By making these gradual changes, George was able to transform his snacking habits without feeling deprived or confused. 6 months later, his blood tests showed significant improvements, and he reported feeling more energetic and clear-headed. The science supports George's approach. Research consistently shows that gradual dietary changes are far more sustainable than dramatic overhauls. Small, consistent improvements in nut choices can lead to significant health benefits over time, including lower rates of heart disease, diabetes, and certain types of cancer. One study published in the New England Journal of Medicine found that people who ate nuts 7 or more times per week had a 20% lower death rate than those who didn't eat nuts. That's powerful motivation to make these simple changes. A common misconception I hear from my viewers is that dietary changes won't make a significant difference at their age. This simply isn't true. Multiple studies demonstrate that nutritional interventions can be highly effective for the aging population, with some benefits appearing within weeks or months. It's never too late to make positive changes to your diet that can improve your quality of life. Here's my practical advice for implementing what we've learned today. First, start by eliminating one problematic nut and adding one beneficial nut each week. This gradual approach is more sustainable than trying to change everything at once. Second, create your own healthy nut mix with the 4 beneficial nuts we discussed: walnuts, almonds, pistachios, and pecans. Store this mix in a visible place in your kitchen as a reminder to choose these nuts for snacking. Third, store your nuts in the freezer to preserve freshness and prevent rancidity. Nuts contain oils that can go rancid when exposed to heat and light, potentially creating harmful compounds. Freezing them extends their shelf life significantly without affecting their nutritional value. Finally, aim for about a quarter cup of healthy nuts daily, preferably distributed throughout the day rather than eaten all at once. This approach provides steady nutrition without overwhelming your digestive system. Remember, these changes don't have to be all or nothing. Even replacing one less beneficial nut with a more beneficial option part of the time will move you in the right direction. Now, let's talk about what these changes could mean for your quality of life as you continue to age. I want to take a moment to talk about something deeper than just nutrition facts and research studies. What we're really discussing today is quality of life, your quality of life. Living with vitality, independence, and cognitive clarity in your golden years isn't just about adding years to your life, it's about adding life to your years. I've seen firsthand how small dietary choices, like which nuts to include in your diet, can profoundly affect how my viewers experience aging and whether they maintain their independence. Think about what matters most to you at this stage of life. Is it having the energy to play with your grandchildren? The mental clarity to engage in stimulating conversations and pursue your interests? The physical ability to travel, garden, or enjoy your favorite hobbies? Or perhaps the independence to remain in your own home, managing your daily activities without assistance? All of these priorities are influenced by your nutritional choices, including something as seemingly simple as which nuts you eat regularly. The omega-3s in walnuts supporting brain function, the heart-healthy fats in almonds, the vision-protecting antioxidants in pistachios, and the anti-inflammatory compounds in pecans, they're all working together to support the quality of life you desire. I often hear from viewers who initially dismissed this type of information, thinking it was too late to make meaningful changes. They'd say things like, "At my age, does it really matter?" or "I've been eating this way for 70 years, why change now?" But then I receive their follow-up messages, sometimes weeks, sometimes months later, describing how much better they feel after making these simple adjustments. They talk about improved energy, better sleep, reduced pain, sharper thinking, and a renewed sense of well-being. Rather than seeing these dietary adjustments as restrictions, I encourage you to view them as investments in your future self. Each time you choose walnuts over cashews or almonds over sugary-coated nuts, you're making a statement that your health and well-being matter. You're choosing to take control of the factors you can influence, even as you navigate the inevitable challenges that come with aging. I want to share something deeply personal with you. My own mother, at 83, was beginning to show signs of mild cognitive decline. Her doctor suggested medication, but she was hesitant about potential side effects. We decided to try some nutritional interventions first, including adding walnuts to her daily diet and eliminating highly processed foods. Within 3 months, not only had her memory assessments improved, but she reported feeling more like herself again, more present, more engaged, more alive. Her doctor was surprised by the improvement and suggested continuing with these dietary changes before considering medication. I'm not suggesting that diet alone can solve every health challenge of aging, of course it can't. Modern medicine offers wonderful interventions that can enhance quality of life. But I am suggesting that these simple nutritional choices can create a foundation that supports everything else, from how well your medications work to how effectively you recover from illness or injury. I encourage you to go to your pantry right after this video and take inventory. Identify the nuts that might be undermining your health, and make a shopping list that includes the 4 beneficial nuts we've discussed today. Start with just one swap this week, perhaps replacing cashews with walnuts or macadamias with almonds. Remember, it's never too late to make positive changes. Your body has an amazing capacity to respond to improved nutrition at any age. Many of my viewers in their 70s, 80s, and even 90s have reported significant improvements in their energy, cognitive function, and overall well-being after making these simple dietary adjustments. You deserve to feel your best in these golden years. You've worked hard throughout your life, and now is the time to enjoy the fruits of your labor with the best possible health and vitality. Something as simple as changing which nuts you eat can be a meaningful step toward that goal. Let's take a moment to summarize what we've learned today about the best and worst nuts for seniors over 65. We've discovered that you should embrace walnuts for brain health and their essential omega-3 fatty acids that protect neural connections and fight inflammation. Almonds are your heart's best friend, with their perfect balance of healthy fats that improve cholesterol profiles and vitamin E that protects your cells from oxidative damage. Pistachios offer unique benefits for vision and blood sugar management, with their special antioxidants that protect your eyes from age-related degeneration. And don't forget pecans, those often overlooked anti-inflammatory powerhouses that can help reduce the chronic inflammation that underlies so many age-related conditions. On the flip side, we've learned to approach with caution or avoid macadamia nuts, which provide minimal nutritional benefits for their extremely high calorie content, a poor trade-off for seniors with naturally slowing metabolism. Cashews come with risk to aging kidneys because of their high oxalate content, which is particularly concerning as kidney function naturally declines with age. All types of flavored, coated, or processed nuts hide dangerous levels of sodium, sugar, and inflammatory oils that can undermine your health goals. And finally, we discussed the potential inflammatory properties of peanuts and their vulnerability to aflatoxin contamination, which may be particularly relevant for seniors with already elevated inflammatory markers. Now, I'm curious, which of these nuts were you regularly eating without realizing the potential risks? Or which beneficial nut are you most excited to incorporate into your diet? Share in the comments below. I read every comment and would love to hear about your experiences or questions. Your input helps me create future videos that address your specific concerns. Often the most valuable information comes from our community sharing their real-life experiences with implementing these changes. So many viewers have told me they discovered tips from other community members that made these dietary adjustments easier and more enjoyable. If you found this information valuable for your health journey today, please consider subscribing to Wise Elderly Tips. Our channel is dedicated to providing evidence-based advice specifically tailored to the unique needs of those in their golden years. We don't just share general health information, everything we discuss is filtered through the lens of how it specifically affects aging bodies and minds. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss our upcoming videos. Thank you for investing time in your health today. I truly believe that knowledge is power, especially when it comes to aging well. While we can't control everything about the aging process, we can make informed choices that support our bodies and minds through this journey. Make just one small change this week based on what you've learned today, and watch how it improves your quality of life. Remember, healthy aging isn't about deprivation, it's about making strategic choices that allow you to continue enjoying life to its fullest. This is Wise Elderly Tips, helping you age not just with grace, but with vibrant health and independence. I look forward to seeing you in our next video, where we'll continue exploring practical ways to make your golden years truly golden. Take care, and remember, it's never too late to invest in your health.